Good morning. Let's see here, just kind of going over my chart, seeing where the gaps are from yesterday. 14,498, so we'll just call that 14,500 over here. So not a not a real big gap to speak of on either chart here to the downside. You see, we got a little different setup this morning on the stream. A little bit different of a setup. Hopefully this kind of gives you guys a little more information. We got the left side of the screen there is going to have or this side, it's got the ES, this side's got the NQ. This way we can look at them both at the same time there. So make it a little bit easier. Got about 1 minute here till the market opens. So maybe we might get a pullback into these this gap area before the market opens here. All right, market is officially opened here. Let's take a look, see what we got. Kind of pushing up here on the NQ. Nasdaq pushing as well, or the ES pushing as well. I'm going to kind of be a little bit patient this morning considering how yesterday morning went. Just making a huge move up here. I normally would have stopped in or jumped in, but feeling a little gun shy first thing this morning. Possible move up into the 600s here. Straight out of open there, we just blasted up maybe, 40-ish points? 40-ish points there. Got a little bit different setup this morning. Kind of go over it with you guys once we get a few minutes here. Might go up here and test 600s. Let's kind of see here. Don't really like buying at the top, but if we think it's going to go, we may do it. All right, we're going to go ahead and try to take us along here. Possible overshoot of the looking for this overshoot here. Stop is at break even here. It's going to kind of trail it up a little bit this morning just because did not have my bracket order on there. Let me make sure I got these turned on. All right. Interesting. Let's see. All right, let's get the bracket orders put on here. So we didn't get that overshoot yet, but we locked in a little extra, I don't know, $65, $75 there. Let's take a look. 65. I think you get an overshoot. There's the overshoot. It is Friday. Typically, these last few weeks on Fridays, we've just been kind of just going straight up. So kind of hard to lose when it's doing that. Still pushing here all the way up to 610. I am currently not in it. It's going without us, but that's quite all right. All right, so while we got a minute here, while we're not really going over this or interested in entering it at this point because it's just going without us. I mean, anyways, so the left side screen here on the ES, I have my Apex account. So we got the Apex account here on the left. Apex Challenge, you can see the P&L there at the bottom on the Apex account. And then we got the Top Step account here on the right with the P&L there. Already took a trade this morning pre-market on the Top Step account. Made $200 in this pre-market. This is just continuing to go. Let's take a look and see where we could go to. Let's take a look. On the ES, possible 42.60 to 42.67. We are at 67 now. So probably going to base here. Probably see a pullback here for a little while. And then maybe make another leg up. That's kind of what I'm thinking. On the NQ. Yeah, similar, about the 25 area, looks like. And then, so we'll see what happens. Certainly wouldn't be buying up here. Wow, the ES is still kind of pushing there. We'll go over where we're starting at today on both accounts. And that way you guys can kind of see where we're starting at. Just going to be patient here this morning. We took that first trade there. I got stopped out on it. Moved my stop probably a little too quickly. That's going to be one of our focuses next week. Focus on not moving that stop and kind of go from there. But today, I'm just going to focus on having a green day, keep it simple. And then next week, we will try to focus on the other. So all right, let's see what we got going on. Getting a little bit of a pullback here on both. I like this setup over here, how you can see both at the same time. You don't have to switch back and forth. Like I said, I would expect this to kind of put in some consolidation in this area before maybe making another leg higher. I guess over the last 3 Fridays, we've just pumped every Friday. So I was kind of considering that this morning, thinking that we may move up, but after yesterday morning's debacle, I just wanted to kind of be a little patient. So need something to drink this morning. I woke up kind of late, meant to be up nice and early so I can have everything set up. We had non-farm payroll this morning. Excuse me. So any of you that's unfamiliar with how non-farm payroll works, it sometimes can make it kind of a tough Friday to trade. So I'm going to keep that in mind and be very cautious this morning. I don't think it's going to be a day to I don't think it's going to be a day where we're going to be sizing up or anything like that. Have not taken a trade on the Apex account yet. I got to get used to kind of, because I could have took this breakout on the Apex because I did get in here. Could have got in on the Apex as well. But pushing up into the 70s here on the ES. Nasdaq right there at the 20s. Like I said, tough to buy up here. I don't think there's any more news today. Let me double check that. I think only maybe crude oil or something. Let's see. We had 8:30 non-farm payroll. It's like there's some kind of news at 1:30. I don't even know what that is. Oh wait, that's oil. Never mind. So yeah, no more news to speak of today. Nasdaq all the way up to the 25s there. Yeah, no reason to short here. I mean, it could pull back, but don't want to jump in front of a moving train there. So let's just be patient. Not going to feel like we're missing anything this morning because at the end of the day, there will be another move. So let's just wait for our setup. You do have a nice boner candle here, though. Nice green boner candle to the upside. Always nice to see those if you're long. This big wick that you see here, this is from the non-farm payroll news this morning. So we had a big move down, and then we started this move up, started this rally. So if you got long down here in the 30s, you know, or even at the 40, congratulations. You had a nice big win, 30 handle winner. Nasdaq wasn't as violent this morning. You can see it made it a move down and then kind of chopped around before starting the move up. So just going to be patient here. Like I said, there's no point in trying to predict what the market's going to do. Let's just trade the price action and go from there. The goal is 300 to 400 on each account today. That would be ideal. So obviously we're already at $271 on the Top Step account. So not much to go there. Possible move up to 85 on the ES. I mean, if it can offer us an entry here, maybe we'll take it. We get some sort of pullback into one of these gaps. Or let's go ahead and mark out our 15-minute range. So this is our 15-minute range today. Oh. That's 15-minute range there. All right, that's kind of where we're at there. Just going to kind of wait for a breakout of this range. Get a breakout of this range, and we may enter it along here. All right, getting these pullbacks here on both. Nasdaq looking a little weaker than the ES. Kind of retracing this entire move. Wow. Nasdaq is just dumping here. Almost makes me want to short the ES here. I certainly wasn't expecting this. Possible move up. Oh, man. Are we going for the gap fill now? All right, we can't stay out of this. We're going to have to take an entry here, even though it kind of is trading into a fair value gap there. I'm going to go ahead and take a short here. What happened here? What is going on here? I'm not quite sure what happened. Oh. I didn't have my stop set correctly on that one. I need to... Trying to break out of that 15-minute range there. All right. Okay. Traded into this gap here. Now we're kind of bouncing again. Holding that 60 area. I don't like that it's not showing me. I need to, something's going on here. Fills and orders, show all. There we go. No, still not showing them. I don't know what's going on there. It's not showing me my entry. I don't know. I can't figure that out. Show all. Current position. Oh, that's the problem. Okay, I was like, what is going on here? All right, we took a couple losers there on the ES. All right. Kind of got burned in both directions here, but look for this breakout here on the NQ breakdown. All right, we're going to take the breakdown here on the NQ. Need this push down here. There we go. Nice little move there on the NQ. Got that breakdown that we were looking for on the NQ. Trying to wait on this ES to kind of go. I don't know how the ES doesn't go. I mean, that Nasdaq is moving down. Just kind of watching this the ES here. Nasdaq definitely look like it's going for that gap fill. And I really want to take a short entry at the same spot where I did earlier, where I got burned. Kind of getting a bounce here on the NQ. Bouncing on the ES as well. Problem with the ES, it's trading back into this fair value gap, but the Nasdaq disrespected its fair value gap. So I think here what we may do is just let's just give it a second, see what we get. So as you can see, we're up $566 there on the Top Step account after losing 1,000 yesterday. And we are down 268 on the Apex account. So I'm trying to trade two different accounts on two different markets at the same time. Might be something that takes me a little bit to get used to here, because it's kind of hard to watch both markets at the same time intently looking for entries and exits. So on this account here, we do have a bigger, well, we don't have a daily stop loss, but our trailing drawdown is $2,500. So that being said, we can take a little larger size. So I can take 2-3 contracts if I want to on this account. And that's something I may do. As I get the better setups, I will take a little larger size. Dollar moved up. Now it's kind of trying to make a couple stair steps down here. If you're not watching the dollar when you're trading futures, you're doing yourself a disservice. Kind of consolidating in this area here, stair stepping down, but very, very slowly. Just going to be careful, wait for it to kind of, the fact that the ES or the Nasdaq did not go and fill the gap. We can take this trend line here and just kind of draw it. Oh, what happened here? Kind of glitching here a little bit. So ES looking a little stronger here. Maybe we get this breakout of this trend line for a move up. If not, if we move below the VWAP and out of the 15-minute range, then we'll consider a short down to this 40 area. You got the I marked out the gap this morning. So this is where we closed yesterday. That's what this gap, when I say gap, that's what I'm referring to. So where we closed yesterday versus where we opened today, if there's a gap between, a lot of times it likes to get filled. So here's the gap on the Nasdaq. You can see that it didn't quite get to it. So let's just see what price action offers us here. Possible long setup coming here. Trying to break out here. Gonna wait for confirmation. Just waiting for it to maybe break above the 66 level here, and then we would consider that a breakout, but still kind of moving down here. Approaching that 20 SMA there on the ES. Dollar is trying to move back up here. Looks like we're kind of dumpy now. The NQ just filled that gap to the downside there. Had a little consolidation and then continued down to fill the gap. If we break below the VWAP here and clear out of this 15-minute range on the ES, then we'll take a short. So literally, if we get down, if we break the 53 area, we'll just go ahead and put a 4-handle stop on this one. Possible move down into the 40. I think kind of be what I would. We may just size up here a little bit. We'll take 5 handles on the first contract if we get tagged in, and let the next one ride. So looking for a short on the ES at the 53. The NQ is still dumping. Dump right through that gap there. Might get tagged in here. NQ approaching low a day. 73. All right, tagged in here. Why is this? It's not showing. I'm not sure what's going on here. I'm not seeing price on the bar. I like to see the price on the bar. I'm not even seeing it up here. There we go. All right, let's get this move on down here. See if we can't get this move down. Got some volume imbalances here on the way down on the 1-minute chart, but let's see if this thing just continues lower. Trying to be a little patient with it here. NQ needs to push through that low a day there. All right, finally getting this breakdown here. I'm going to move one contract down with price action. Like I said, moving one contract down with the price action here. I'm going to put the second one here at $50. Like for it to move on down, but just kind of wanted to lock in a little bit of profit there. Moving my got $187 on that move down. I don't know. It's going to go, but was trying to just get back to even on this account on that move down and just kind of wait for the ICT silver bullet here between 10 and 11. Felt like I was chasing it a little bit. Not really, because we did break out of the gap, and that is one of our simple strategies. But you can see it's trading right back up to the gap again. So NQ did make a new low here. Nice new low on the NQ. Not a huge low, but it got through there by a point or two. Got through there by a point or two. Let me see here. How do you guys like the new split screen setup here? Does it seem like you get more information with this? Just making sure you can kind of see everything. So we had a failed breakdown there. The NQ is bouncing back up, and the Nasdaq, or the NQ is bouncing back up, and as well as the ES is as well. So not a bad cover there for me on the short that I had here. Right at 10 o'clock here, 10:04. So let's kind of let price action tell us what we are going to do next. So trading back up into this fair value gap here. Also trading back up into the fair value gap there on the NQ. Possibly get this breakdown after it trades back up into that gap. We had a market structure shift here to the downside. You can see we pierced this swing low here. Trades back up into the gap, and then you should be getting short here for this move down, possibly into the 40s. If we were going to have a continuation, I'm just going to be careful here just because we just crossed that 10 o'clock hour. So let's see how price reacts to this area. Let me look and see where the pivots are on the ES. I didn't even pay attention to that this morning. Wow, we actually had a pivot at 42.52. So bounced right off that pivot. Next pivot to the upside is 42.77. And NQ pivots all the way down at 14.415. And then the pivot to the upside is 14.581. So that being said, that we bounced off this pivot, I think we might just move right through this this fair value gap. Kind of got that feeling. Probably not going to respect this. Maybe on the way up, it creates another fair value gap entry for us to go long here for this move back up into the 70s. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the micros on the NQ. Since I'm already up, I'm already above my target for the day on that account. So we may take a couple of trades on the NQ, but just with the micros. We're going to stick with the minis on the ES here. Looking for a $250, $300 trade here on the ES, possible. Let's see what happens here. If we can break through this gap, so if we break through 64 here, and then we kind of trade back into it, create a gap on the way up, then if we trade back into it, I'm going to take a long for that move back up into the 70s. Looking for that same kind of setup on both the NQ and the ES. $15-minute chart here on both of these. You can see big green candle, big red candle, and kind of trying to fill back in there, just kind of barcoding there. All right, so we created a fair value gap here. Let me look in the lower time frames and see. We didn't really break market structure on any of the time frames that I'm seeing yet. So even though we created a fair value gap, we're not going to use it just yet. You can see we didn't trade through this gap here. That's kind of what I want to see here. Trade through this gap, then pull back. You know, trade through that gap, then pull back. But traded up to the pretty close to the middle of that gap. Now we're rejecting it. Just out of curiosity, let's just take a look. So yeah, the 50% level, we didn't quite get there, so we didn't quite trade up to a premium yet. So I think this thing will probably continue higher. All right, bouncing off the VWAP there on the ES. Nasdaq is still below the VWAP and the 20 SMA there. Let me make that a little bigger. Let's check this and just make sure I didn't mess up any of my screens. Yeah, you can still see. All right. So you can see up 566 on this account, down $87 on this one. And you may say, well, how are you down on this one and up on that one? Well, it happens. Dollar moving up here, trying to move up. Now we could take this entry here on the ES. You know, obviously we broke out of this this trend line that we drew here, but ideally we're looking for the ICT silver bullet setup here. So really, I'd like to see this break structure to the upside, trade back into the fair value gap, and then move higher. So we're going to kind of try to be patient, looking for that setup here. Not familiar with the silver bullet, I made a video on it. Basically, it happens every day most days between 10 and 11 a.m. So it's a time-based setup. And you just look for a low to be taken out, you know, or a new low to be made. So we made a new swing low here. We just want to get a shift in market structure to the upside. Ideally just through this fair value gap, and then possibly take a long. So getting a little push up here. No real fair value gap to speak of just yet. Looking at the lower time frames, there is a small fair value gap obviously down here. So potentially, you know, trade up, maybe trade back to this gap all the way down here, but let's just watch price action and see what happens here. And obviously you could go ahead and just enter here if you wanted to for this breakout. Like I said, we could just use this breakout line as our entry, but trying to be a little more patient here. Could have entered for that break of 60. Would have got our 5 handles there, but we didn't. So we're waiting for this one particular setup and see if it forms. So we're getting a nice fair value gap here forming. We just need it to close that way, and then we'll trade. If it trades back into it, we'll take it. Now, if it takes this high out, this swing high here, before it trades back into this gap, then that's not a setup that we're going to be interested in. All right, we got a gap formed here on the 1 minute chart. on the ES. So possibly could take an entry here once we start moving back up. All right, going to go ahead and take my entry here. Looking for this move up to the 71 level. Actually, we're probably going to target that swing high there at 74. On the 1 minute chart, we created a fair value gap. We have a shift in structure. Guess I could switch over to the 1 minute and show you here. So we have a fair value gap here. Right here. Traded back into it. So that's where I took my entry at. I just took the entry at the, beginning of the gap there. Stop's going to be the low of the candle that created the gap that had the shift in market structure. So stop's here, targeting this swing high here. It's the idea for this trade. Once we get to 5 handles here, once we reach 70, we could probably move our stop to break even. It's probably a bit aggressive, but let's see what happens. I may move it sooner than that just because, this is me we're talking about here. But this is the idea for this trade, I'm going to go ahead and take off this, well, I guess we can leave it on there, 15-minute range. I could have taken this entry at the 60, like I said, once we broke out of this range and kind of had this confirmation candle here. Could have entered at the break of the VWAP and the SMA, but this is kind of the setup I was looking for, and it's pulling back now. Let's see, I'm going to switch back over to the 3-minute chart here. We'll make it stopped out here pretty quickly on this one, just kind of getting some reference here. Let's see. I guess on the 5-minute chart, my stop would be at the 57s. Well, let's see. I mean, that's the only thing you have to be aware of. It could trade all the way back down here to this gap before moving higher. I don't know if that's the risk that I want to be taking, though. So if it trades through this 60 level, I'll probably just go ahead and take this off and just take my loss. Maybe look for a re-entry. That will tell me that it's not you can see it did trade back up into this first fair value gap. That could be what it was going for there, because this is in a in a premium for the short, so your short entry would be at the top of this range here. Even though we did have that shift in market structure, sometimes it doesn't work that way. So let's go ahead and put our stop back up here at 60. So we're risking $300. If we get stopped out here, we may just flip our bias to short. and target this swing low. You can see the Nasdaq right there at the VWAP kind of getting rejected. If it's going to go, it needs to go now. Not really seeing any other fair value gaps to speak of, looking at the 1 minute, the 2 minute. So the 1 minute's the only one I see the fair value gap on, so that's the one I'm using. Sometimes these lower time frame fair value gaps don't hold up as well as the higher time frames, but that's all right. So if we move back up into the green here, so if we get back above 66, I'm probably going to move my stop to break even pretty quickly here, even though that's not the idea of the trade. It's not supposed to do that, but that's what we are going to do. Might get stopped out on this trade, but that's all right. We moved up to break even there. I'm looking for it to push a little above it before I move it. Well, it almost got back to, well, I guess technically it did get back to break even, but I didn't move the stop because it was literally one tick above it. All right, again, if we get stopped out here, we're probably going to go ahead and switch over to the short here. All right, we're just going to go ahead and change our bias to short here. Could get burned in both directions. All right, let's see if we can get a push down here. Well, let's see if we can get this pushed down. If it starts to reverse back up on us, then we will probably just kill this trade. This is a bit of an aggressive trade, so Sorry, the dog's barking there. I'm going to put my first target at this first swing low here. And then second target's going to be down here. Let's try to lock in some profits if we can get a push down into this 56 area. It's also where the VWAP is. Trying to move one contract down just to make sure I lock in something here. Trying to show some patience here with this trade. Needed to break through that 56.50 level here. Bouncing in that area, that's not what we want to see though. See if we can just show some patience here. Let it work itself out. Dog's barking. I'm going to mute my mic for a second. All right, let's see what happens here. Trying to be patient on this trade. If it trades back up, we're already down 400 on the day on this account, so we're not going to let it, not going to give it too much room here. All right, I'm going to kill that trade right there. It just wasn't going in the direction that we needed it to. Was up a few $100s on that trade there for a minute, but interesting enough, trying to look for this ICT silver bullet setup, and just trying to watch this here. Yeah, let's see here. Now it's doing what we expected it to do earlier. All right, this might be our last trade of the morning on this account. We done got burned in both directions, so we're going to And see, this did trade up. It broke structure. Then it came all the way back down to this fair value gap. And now it's moving up. I don't know why I didn't see that before. So the entry on this gap would have been, you know, that 58 area. All right, let's see what we can do here. See if we can't get this quick move up here. Kind of target these areas. Gonna have a bit of a short stop on this. All right, well, just kind of watching this trade, seeing what happens here. Just so you guys are aware, I'm going to be a little more aggressive with this Apex account than I am with Top Step, just because the reset's only $40. So if you see me take some trades in the Apex account that I probably wouldn't normally take, that's going to be why. I'm just going to move my stop to where it should be at. I mean, like I said, this is going to be a little more aggressive, but thinking this may push up here today. I mean, we've kind of had those kind of Fridays for the last few weeks here. So with that in mind, I'm kind of thinking I could put a little wider stop on this. Should be able to hold up in this 60 area is kind of what I'm thinking. And I may put my target up here. Yeah, I think I'm going to move these targets up. This might be a trade that I'm in a little longer today. Thinking I might do something like this. So yeah, on this trade, I think I'm going to hold this for a potential target up into the mid 80s. I'm looking at the charts here. Kind of looks like that might be where we go today. So like I said, this may be a little bit longer of a hold trade to try to get back this $800 that I've already given away. What would this be? 64 to 81. I mean, this, even if this trade hit all the way up here, I would just be up slightly on the day, not anything crazy. Well, on this particular account, you do have $2,500 intraday drawdown. So, you know, I was up $1,300 on the account yesterday. So, I mean, we kind of got that amount to play with today. So that's kind of what I'm thinking here. Thinking we may get this push up. All right, everybody. If you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe. It helps the channel. Helps the channel out. See if we can get this move up into the 80s here. See if I can figure out how to put the dollar amount on the line. I don't know why it's not on there. Price levels. Oh, show P&L on price line. There we go. All right, so we're working our way through that fair value gap there. that we rejected out of earlier. See if we can break this swing high here at 73. Actually, I may take one off at 74, and we'll leave the runner. We'll leave a runner on for that move up into the 80s. If we can get it. Oh, I just realized you guys can't even see the 80s. There we go. Now you can see the 80s. Want to just get a push through here strong. Don't want to get rejected. Nasdaq also trying to push up there. Just got above VWAP and the 20 SMA. Ideally, if I would have waited this morning and not been so aggressive in this account, we would not be down $800 at this point on it. And this trade would be kind of what we were looking for. But you live and you learn. Need to get this pushed through this 73 area here. Let's make a new high on the day. Everything's looking good so far for a push through the 73s. NQ's pushing. So if we get this push through the 73s, I'll probably go ahead and move my stop to break even on the second contract, and we'll see if we can't get that push up into the 80s from there. Well, actually, I can probably go ahead and move the stops to break even. We're up 5 points on the trade, so we broke this swing high here. So once we break that swing high, can kind of move it to break even. So risk-free trade here, can't lose, but certainly don't want to be stopped out for break even either. So I really want to move these stops up higher, to be honest, to at least lock in something. All right, let's see if we can't get this pushed right up through 74 here on this first contract. I'm going to go ahead and move my stop up here pretty quickly. Want to get a push through the 74 area. So we're guaranteeing ourselves $400 here. But I want that push through 74 strong here. Take out my first target. Need that push through 74. Just watching it here, watching it, watching it. Let's get this push through 74 here. Get me filled here. Yes. Let's get this push through 74, you naughty boy. There we go. All right. Move my stop up here because I don't want to. I'll lock it in at least $700. Stopped out on one. See if I can get this pushed through here. All right, stopped out on both of them there. Move my stop up. I know I'm going to get this pushed through. That's the only thing, but I didn't want to give back any of the profits on that one. So that pretty much got me back to even on that account. You can see here the good, bad, and the ugly on these trades here. Loser. Loser. Winner here, 187. Kind of got that failed breakout of that 15-minute range there. Like I said, I think this is going to go all the way up into the 80s. We just hit 73.75 there, so it was working my patience though. You know, you guys are seeing the struggles here. Then I misread this. I mean, this fair value gap here, I misread it. We trade up into it. I take a long instead of a short, and then I took a short instead of a long. No, wait, I took a long twice. I got stopped. I got burned in both directions on that one. Then we finally figured out which gap we're using, and there we go. Should have definitely just left my stop at break even. I don't know why I didn't there. That was my plan, and I was doing good at trading the plan at first, and then changed my mind. So I think let's see here. I was looking at the 15-minute range here. I took it off. So, yeah, the 15-minute range is pretty much the high day on NQ. We just broke out of the 15-minute range there on the ES, but obviously, this is where I struggle. You can see I drew this trend line, and my thought process was if we break out of this trend line, should have been long for the break of the SMAs here around 60. So if I was long at 60 and we took profit up here at 72, it's a $1,000 trade instead of a $800 trade. So, and I'm really supposed to just leave my stop. Once we break the swing high, move the stop to break even. Once we break this swing high, you can move it to 5 points. Leave it there, and I would still be in this trade for the move up to the 80s. But those are the things I'm working on. And next week, those are the things that we are going to tackle. We're going to master those things. We're going to hold these trades for as long as we can. Yeah, I'm looking at the Nasdaq here. I don't really see an entry on it. Well, kind of getting the pullback here. We did trade up to 77.50, and I took profit at, I don't know, 72. So certainly left at least 5 handles on the table there. But, being down the $800 kind of influenced that trade, and that's kind of what I talk about, where you don't want to trade your P&L. I should trade this trade just as if it's a trade and not really matter what my P&L is. If I'm down $800, I'm just down $800 on the trade. So, all right. Let's see here. Looks like we're consolidating in this area before we get this move through the 80s. Got a bit of consolidation going on here. Probably going to get this move through the 80s. I'm quite certain we're probably going to move to 83. It's kind of what target I was thinking there. Going to concentrate, like I said, next week on just doing a better job at holding my trades through where I think they're going to go. But again, this was just a nice little setup here. I mean, you had a whole lot of stuff going on here. Above the VWAP, break through the 20 SMA, breaking out of the trend line. Fair value gap formed here. Traded right back into it perfectly. And, of course, that's kind of my problem sometimes with these fair value gaps. I have a hard time knowing which one it's kind of going to use, which one's valid and that sort of thing. I'm still working on that. I'm not perfect at it by any stretch of the imagination. But you can see the idea for this trade here. So between 10 and 11, the fair value gap is typically formed. So it formed the gap here. Now, I was kind of discounting this gap because we pulled back into it before we broke structure. So you can see we had not broken structure here. So we pulled back into it before we broke structure, so I did not take this entry. Then we continue higher. We break structure. This is higher than this. And we pull right back into the gap. But for whatever reason, I took a long here. Way up here at the top. Bad entry. If I'm going to take that longer, I really got to pay attention, and my stop has to be way down here. So I lose $312 on that trade, $237 on that trade. That's $550 that theoretically should never have lost. Trades back into the gap. Entry should be long from 57. Realized it too late. I realized it very late, and I got long up here at the 64, I believe. What do we get long at? 64.75. So really should have been long down here at the 57. And this should be a huge trade. Huge trade. Huge winner. Not saying it's not a large winner in comparison to my winners normally. But, yeah, the silver bullet setup, I mean, it works every day. It's just identifying it. Yesterday, we identified it to a T and didn't take it. So, that's the thing. You can identify the setups, but you still have to hit the trigger. Got to hit the button, and then you also need to to follow your rules. Stuart, there. You need follow your rules. All right, Stuart, I got you. I'm gonna follow my rules. Starting Monday, I promise. But Yeah. So, anyways, you gotta hit the trigger. You gotta buy it, sell it, whatever it is, and then you gotta hold it. Don't move your stop until you're supposed to. Now, to be fair, I've been pretty inconsistent on holding my trades. Let's just be honest. But I entered this trade at 10:30, and I exited the trade at 10:45. So, 15 minutes for me holding a trade is an eternity. So, trying to work on it, trying to get better at it. You don't have to be perfect to be profitable. I mean, that's the thing. Now, over here looking at the Nasdaq, there's well, I guess there is a fair value gap here. I'm just now seeing that. And again, like I said, I mean, picking these out sometimes is the hardest part, and it's easier to do in retrospect, hindsight here. So your NASDAQ looks like this would be the setup. I didn't even see this until just now. So same idea. We created the fair value gap down here. We traded up. We broke market structure. We did trade back into it. I mean, this is almost identical to the ES, you can see. Traded right back into it here, but we had not broken the market structure. Once we broke market structure, we traded back into the gap. Your long entry would have been at 99. Stop would go one tick below, so stop would be there. So 82, I mean, it would have scared you. Now, you can put your stop at the bottom of the first candle. You would enter there at the 99, and you can see we moved all the way up to 81. So on the NQ, you would have a nice 80-point move there with a single contract. That's $1,600. Is that right? Yeah, $1,600. So very easy to see in hindsight. But those are the things I'm kind of working on to try to get better at. We'll use that on Monday. We're going to work on that over the weekend and see if we can implement it on Monday. It's just a mentality thing. That's all it is. You have to understand that sometimes you're going to take losses. But if you can recognize that you're on the wrong side of a trade and just get out of it, and that's kind of what I tried to do here. I was like, oh, I'm on the wrong side. Let me take a short, which was a bad idea. And then I took another 237 loss. So like what I did here, this entry, not so bad because we did trade into this gap. But what I did here was, actually it was bad because it was long. But this could be avoided. That $550 loss there could certainly be avoided. And we would be in the green now. We'd be at our goal pretty much. The ES trying to move on up into the 80 level here. See if we can't get it. See if our idea would have worked. Whether we're in it or not, let's, see if the idea works there. If you guys haven't noticed already, I did take the affiliate link with Apex. So we do have a link down in the description below, and then you can use my coupon code down there for 80% off until June 12th. That's when the sale ends. So if you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe, share the video. Approaching the 80 level here. NQ still trying to move up. And you could, we did also get kind of a secondary entry here on the NQ. I mean, this created these fair value gaps, traded right back into this one. It's moving up again. Got to get through this big fair value gap here on the NQ, though. That's the only thing that's a little more scary about this one. You don't have that here. We already cleared that out because the ES was a little weaker this morning at the open. 78.50 is now the high. Let's see here. Did I not? Okay. I'm just now realizing. I don't know why I didn't notice that earlier. I don't have the dollar amount in the screen there. See if we can't drag this P&L over. Oh, that's not the... Put it right there, maybe. Yeah, so you can see it. There we go. Still trying to get used to this new setup here. I didn't realize you guys could not see the dollar amount here. Has that been like that all morning? Oops. All right, you can see the profit. You can see the profit. No, you can't see the profit. Let's see. Let's see if I can. All right, ding, ding, ding. There's the 80, just like we talked about. There is the 80 level. I knew I was going to hit it, but didn't hold it, so what good is it if you don't hold it, right? Trying to, anyways, doesn't really matter. I guess I can. I don't know. I had this figured out last night where I can have both on there. Let me see. I think I have to slide this one over a little more is what it is. Nope. Can't take it further than that. And there we are, 83. Ding, ding, ding. Just what I said. That's what I was thinking. So definitely took profit here too soon. 72.25. I left 10 points on the table. I mean, that's at least $500 with one contract. But, you know, like I said, that's what I'm going to be working on next week, trying to hold these trades a little longer for my target. Not a perfect by any means, and NQ, as you can see, it's pumping up there as well. So probably going for the high day here. Got to get through that 610 level. Get through that 610 level. You're probably going to see 630 here pretty quickly. Just got rejected there at the 600s, but I'd imagine it's going to get through there. I don't see how it doesn't. Just crossed over the 11 a.m. mark here this morning. I would like to, we would like to have taken, could have re-entered here at 72. Could have even taken entry here at the on the NQ, but didn't. So possible move up to 4,300 today, to be honest, on the ES here. Possible move to the 4,300s. All right. Well, we're up $566 in the Top Step account, as you can see here. And we are down $80 in the Apex account, which I'm going to be pretty happy with, considering we were down $800 in that account before we took that last trade. So, and if I had been more patient than I was, we certainly could have taken a little more profit off the table there. So I think that's probably going to do it for me for the morning stream here. I will be back today at 2 p.m. for the afternoon, and we'll probably just be trading the Apex account. I think we're probably going to just lock in the $566 on the Top Step and see if we can't do something similar on Apex here. We'll take a look right quick and kind of just show you guys. Let's do this here. Let's kind of show you guys where I started the day after doing horrible yesterday. So here's the Apex account today. Starting balance $50,319. So you can see after that $1,000 loser yesterday, we're still up $319 starting the day. On the week, we're down $333 coming into the day. Best day percentage of total profit. Yeah, that's way too high. So anyways, average winning day, average losing day, you can see that there. So our balance $50,319. Minimum balance $50,335. The max trailing drawdown is, the minimum balance is here, $49,335. So we only had $1,000 to play with going into today. But since we're up $566, we'll see this, move back up. You can kind of see my stats here, but so down 1,015 yesterday. Before that, you can see we had the 4 winning days in a row. Problem is, I got to minimize these losses here. This should be a $500 or $600 loss at most, because you can see my average winning days. We don't really want to take more than 2 days to have to kind of get back a loss, and being down $1,000 makes it tough. Makes it very tough. And then yesterday, I started the Apex. Started the, I'm not super familiar with this, how this thing works, but there it is right there. So I'm up $1,317 on day one in this account, and the target's $53,000. So only got about $1,700 to go on this one, but you do have to trade for a minimum of 10 days. So even if we reach the goal on that one, we'll still have some trades to take. So looks like we made it all the way up to 86. So the target of 83 would have been a nice target. Kind of consolidating back into this range here. But like I said, that's going to do it for me this morning. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Share the stream, and we'll be back today at 2 p.m. And we will see you then.